All right, bear with me. Just want to make sure my volume is working smoothly. All right, we should be good. So, I know I had this scheduled for maybe 2 hours from now, but I had the time on my hands right now, so I figured I'd just do a quick surprise stream, right? 2 hours early. It's funny because I remember a couple of times when I scheduled a stream, say for just as an example, like 11:30 at night, right? And then for whatever reason I can't make it, where I'm like 10 minutes late, and then somebody be in the live chat and be like, "Oh, what happened? What happened?" And you can't fault people for that. Hey, if you schedule a stream, you're supposed to be there at at the time that it's scheduled for, right? But you can't always make it. Right. Same thing with these discussions on other people's channels. Like, I'll give you an example, right? Like, I saw maybe 2 nights ago, Nick, right? My buddy Nick from Signs and Wonders. He was doing a live stream, and he brought IDL on there, right? That Jew, right? That Jewish guy. And he brought him on there they did like a 4 hour discussion. I believe even Caden Ministries actually joined them for a discussion as well, if I'm not mistaken. Which I did not get to listen to it yet, but I plan on doing it in the near future. But the reason I brought it up is I told him, leading up to it, that if I was available, I would join for a conversation, but sometimes, it doesn't always work out that way, so things had to be rescheduled, or you just can't show up. Sometimes you got to change your plans. You know what I'm saying? Hell, same thing with that debate that we were going to do with Perry Green on, what's this guy? Praise the I Am, right? This guy, we'll call him Praise. And he's, like one of the cult members with Jack Smack, right, of that free grace, garbage faith, right? The fake faith community. It's funny, people get offended when I say that, but that's a good thing. Hey, the Bible says, "Blessed are they who are not offended at Christ." Right? So Christ, he would say that free grace is a garbage belief, right? That's fake faith. And people who believe in it are just, gullible and ignorant, and don't really know what's going on. Like, that's, putting it into polite terms for people. Shit, I have to like dumb things down for certain people. They gotta talk in a certain way to try to not hurt certain people's feelings, right? Like, I was joking with Jamie the other day. And I went on Jamie's channel, right? That dude, what's this guy's channel? Babble Off or something like that. And he has like an interesting, Christian community over there, his page, right? But I was joking with him. It's like, man, when I come on your page, I have to dumb everything down to elementary level. Some of the people over there got problems. Yes, I'm not trying to make fun of nobody, but just when you talk to random Christians in general, like everyday Joes, right? You sometimes have to dumb it down to a level where they're capable of understanding. It's like, shit, some of these people, I kid you not, wouldn't even be able to figure out what 3 times 3 is without using Google or a damn calculator to do the math on it. Some of these imbeciles walking around out here. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, shit. If people out here don't even know what three times is without looking it up, you know, we can't even get into the basics of the Bible, right? The hell, that's a little bit too difficult. If even the very basics people out here can't grasp. Like, what's really bad, man? I remember I was watching a video. I believe this guy's name is Mark Dice, which I know there's a couple people with the name Mark Dice, but this guy is like into, economics and stuff like that, but he did a couple videos where he would go around on the streets of America, and this was like what, maybe 13 years ago, 12 years ago. Um, and he would like do certain social experiments to see, like the mindset the average person has, right? So he done a couple where what he would do is he'd offer people, okay, look, you can either have a free chocolate bar or you can have a free, gold bar, right? Like a 1 ounce gold bar or something like that. And I kid you not, literally 29 people out of 30 people took the candy bar. Some of them were even convinced that they did the right decision, saying, who needs gold? I don't really know how much gold is really worth. Or they'll say something like, hey, well, hey, look, the chocolate bar, you can eat that. The gold you can't eat, though. Right. And it was funny because they're like, if you listen to how they talk and their reasoning, they really have convinced themselves that they've made the good decision, taking a literal Hershey's chocolate bar over a 1 ounce gold bar. It's hilarious. And there was even one person on there that would, uh, um, Mark even said, "Hey, look, if you give me your water bottle, I'll give you this gold bar. I'll give it to you if you give me the half drinking water bottle you got." And the girl was like, uh, hey, water is gold, right? Water is gold. Hey, I can't drink the bar, right? This is my water, or some bullshit like that. But again, it just shows you that the average Joe out here, the average peon walking around, is not really on much of a level. Hell, I'll give you another example. Mark Dice went out on July 4th to like a popular beach, not sure what state it was in, but and again, this is like 10, 11, 12 years ago I'm talking about, like old videos, right? But I was watching them a few days back, and the dude went out to the beach and was asking people on July 4th, like, why do we celebrate today? Or what is, some very basic questions about American history, such as, who was America in war against, right? Who did they win their independence from? Who was the first president of America? What year was the Declaration of Independence signed? Very basic questions like that. And I kid you not, man, like literally 90% of the people who asked these questions to, they had no clue, right? Or they'd say, some outlandish, nonsense. There was even one dude who said that America was founded in 1890. And he was like confident with his answer, but again, it's hilarious, man, but it just shows that the public education system has failed the people out here, and that's, it's a damn shame out here. It's a damn shame. People out here bragging about having, college degrees and shit like this. But yet here it is, these are the same imbeciles who believe nonsense just because they were indoctrinated into believing it. Like, I'll give you an example. Most of these people, they'll tell you, oh, the stars are, such and such distance, this planet or that planet, is a gas giant, or there's such and such amount of stars that exist in the universe. Oh, there's 25,000 different universes, just a couple examples, right? But they pridefully make these remarks as if they know these answers because they went to college and studied these books. But yet the fact is that all that information is being told to them by the people who want control of your mind. Right. I used to listen to this dude named D. McClung. I'm sure what he's doing now, but before, Corolla, in like what, 2018, 2019, I used to watch this dude. And he would call the government and the people in political powers, he would call them the mind benders, right? He'd be like, don't let the mind benders, manipulate your mind, right? And that's what these peons out here in this country, and really not this country by itself, but really all over the world. Hell, the Bible talks about a deception that would deceive all the people in the world. And we're seeing that, right? We're certainly seeing that. And there's many more deceptions to come in the future that's going to deceive the entire world. But it's bizarre. Oh, and then I want to point out another. There was a Christian the other day who was, in the comic board. I believe he could do came from Jack Smack's channel. Wait, Jackass as I call him. Right, came from Jackass's channel. Um, hold on. And he was saying something along the lines of like, oh, the popular churches, they have the answers, right? The multitude of people always has the answers, right? Compared to the small groups or whatever. I was thinking to myself, I was like, where the hell do we see that at? Like, say for instance, right? By this logic, that would mean that the Catholic Church has the truth then, because the Catholic Church has what is it, 1 billion 380 million members around the world. You can look it up, do a Wikipedia search on that, right? So the Catholic religion is by far the most popular branch of Christianity in the world, right? So if the most popular religion or belief system is the truth, well, then that would mean that the Catholic faith is true then, because that's what majority of people believe in, right? So this dummy, this imbecile, by his own logic, he's refuted. Eddie, I'm not sure if I'm letting people up on here, man, because my phone battery is low. So hell, I don't even know if I have enough time for an hour on here, man. Be quite honest with you. If you got a question, you can ask it down below, but I don't think I'm gonna be bringing anybody on stage with me today. My apology, but I have some restrictions I have to tonight abide by. Let me see something real quick. Okay, there it is. I had to look at something. The other day I was doing a stream. I was like, I don't know how to change the setting, right? Like you see me here on the screen. I don't know how to change it. So I just saw as I was clicking some buttons behind stage there, I figured it out. Too long. Okay, that's cool, Eddie. You can save that for another day. Yeah, that's cool, Eddie. I don't have any problem with that. You're welcome. When I do a longer stream, which is hopefully very soon, I'll certainly allow you to come on. You're welcome to ask a question if you got that. But I'm hoping, right? Hell, I'm probably gonna prophesy here. Inside joke, right? Inside joke. But if I am correct, it's gonna be something about Jacob and Esau. I guarantee you that's what his question is gonna be, because every time I let that guy on here, it's always about the same thing, about Esau and Jacob, and about, well, Jacob forgave Esau. It's like, well, yeah, I agree that Jacob and Esau, they made up. I never disagree with that, but God's mind didn't change, right? God's view on it didn't change. Like, say for instance, right? In Obadiah, I was just reading Obadiah the other day, which is like what, one chapter long, and the whole chapter is basically about God's future judgment for the nation of Edom, right? And it says in that he's going to destroy all the descendants of Edom, right? So God's hatred against Esau has nothing to do with Jacob. Matter of fact, when you read Romans 9:11, it says, before their children are even born, before they have done anything or wrong, God already decided that he was going to choose the one and, you know, not love the other. Again, read it. Romans 9 started 11 on down. Right? It says before they were born, before they did anything good or bad, God already decided. Questions about sin. Hey, maybe you should ask the preacher. Inside joke. Right? Because he's the expert when it comes to sin. And I hope everybody can see the sarcasm here. Yeah, that dude, oh man. That's a damn embarrassment, man. It's funny. I saw the dude put a post the other day on his community page on YouTube, and he was showing like a whole duffel bag he had full of Bibles. And he was gonna go. I don't know what country or what part of the United States he was flying to go do his ministry, but when he does, I hope he records it because that's gonna be hilarious. Like I've seen the few he's done in the past, like when he goes before the Capitol or some of these other um, sites across the states that he goes to. He'll set up a stand on the street and then ask people to do a Bible study with him. And if you do it, he'll give you a couple dollars and give you a free Bible. Oh, and a Pornhub t-shirt that says the word Bible in it. And what is the whole goal of his Bible study? It's to make you believe that Christ paid for it all and that nothing you do will ever cost you your salvation, right? You can do anything you want as long as you say a couple magic words and believe this guy lived, died, and rose again 2,000 years ago, that you're automatically saved for the rest of your life. I mean, again, I feel bad for the people that run into this dude, man. It's but then again, though, hell, you got to let natural selection take its course. Hey, if somebody wants to be retarded enough to believe in the bullshit, may as well let them. Hell, like I was watching a video earlier today. That's where I got the natural selection thing from. I was watching this video put up by a dude I've been watching for maybe 5 months now. His YouTube channel is called Horrify. Has about 40,000 subscribers, and like every 2 days he puts up like a scary comp of like videos from around the world, not of paranormal things, but of like natural disasters or close calls or weird things or stuff like that. And I've always enjoyed watching his content. But he put a video up today I was watching earlier, and one of the clips from the video was at a Russian beach, and these dudes, they picked up a damn landmine, or I mean a sea mine, right? Those the spiky balls that are supposed to inflict heavy damage on warships. So these imbeciles picked up a live sea mine and were playing with it and didn't know what the hell it was. Everybody in the comments like, these hell, you just gotta let natural selection, take its place. Imagine if that would have went off. You got idiots that are not touching it, literally standing there next to these dudes as they're carrying this explosive from the water onto the beach. Right, again, no safety gear. These dudes don't even know what the hell it is that they're carrying. It's amazing. But these are the imbeciles we have out here, man. Let me see. Eddie said, Perry will never let me on. He doesn't like my questions. Yeah, I can believe that. Perry, you know, he's an interesting individual. That's the understatement. Eddie said he put a 60-second uh, piece about you on there. Yeah, I seen it. I seen it the like minute he uploaded it because I got a notification. And all it was, right, is he just, as I saw coming from a mile away, he asked you about what is it, John 8:34, something like that. Oh, he that sins is a servant of the devil, or something like that. And again, that's like all he knows, the only Bible verse he knows. And then he'll ask you, oh, well, if you sin, well, who do you serve? And then I say, oh, you serve the devil if you sin. But then he won't let me continue from that. Like he won't let me clarify what I mean. Because clearly, if I'm allowed to give a breakdown, it's talking about people who live a lifestyle of sin. It's not talking about if you do one bad thing, you're now the servant of the devil. That's not what the verse means. Otherwise, what about some righteous men in the Bible who do bad things once in a while? Like David, he committed adultery. He set up a man on the battlefield in a position where he won't make it back. So he set that man for failure, for his own death, right? That's just two examples. So was he the servant of sin? No, even though he did two bad things, right? So again, whosoever sins is a servant of the devil. It's clearly a context to it, man. It's talking about people who actively live lifestyles of sin. It's not talking about a righteous man who might do something evil and then repent of it. That's not what it's talking about, man. And I just find it strange to me how that's like, so hard to grasp for this individual. Somehow it's like so far out of reach. It's truly shocking to me. Right, but that's what he'll do. He'll take, a minute clip of you and, take it out of context so people can't hear the entire context of what's happening and, run with it. It's very bizarre. Here, bear with me for a second. One other thing I wanted to comment on is 1 John 1:8. It says that if we say we have no sin, we deceive ourselves and we're lying. And then Perry said, "Oh, well, I don't sin now, but I used to sin, but I don't sin anymore." And they'll say, "Oh, well, that's talking about like past." But actually, you can prove it's talking about present, because when you read Romans chapter 3, verse 23, where it says, "For all have sinned and fallen short of God's glory," look at what it says, sinned. It doesn't say sin, it says sinned, as in past tense. But then when we read 1 John 1:8, when it says, "If we say we have no sin, we deceive ourselves and we're lying," it uses the word sin. So that would imply that, like, tomorrow, today, yesterday, right? Or we'll just say today, tomorrow, and then Thursday or something like that, right? It's present tense, as in right now, and future tense. But Romans 3:23, when it uses the word sinned, that clearly implies a past tense. So clearly, by using both of these verses, you can show how the one is talking about past tense and the one's talking about present tense and future tense. And with individuals like that, it's like arguing with a brick wall. If you ever heard that abbreviation before. Right, that's how it really is with some of these individuals. It's like arguing with a brick wall. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, they're that's just the way they act. So somebody showed up in here and made a fake account of me. Yeah, I seen that. I seen that. Oh, here's a little funny story with that. You've seen these cats over the years. Again, I have a decent amount of experience, because I've been on YouTube for 8 years, been in the truth about 10 years, but been making content on YouTube for 8 years, right? And one thing you'll see constantly is people will make like fake channels about you, will make fake accounts and then comment on things, and it makes it look like it's you, but it's actually not. They're just using your name and your icon and channel name to try to make it look like it's you. Oh, like say for instance, right? Before let's see, do I want to explain the story first? Well, I'll just mention this as a side note, right? The other day, I was watching a video by Jason A, which is like a end times channel on YouTube, Christian channel, right? He does good content. Been watching him for years. I think I watched him since like 2016 or something like that. But I left a comment, oh, good video, good video. And then there was a dude who copied this guy He copied the name, copied the icon, and then he left a response on me, right, my comment, and like 20 other people's comments, and was saying, "Oh, all this good stuff." And then he asked, "Oh, you could give a donation to help these, kids in Uganda or something like that." And then at first I was like, "Oh, well, this looks like the real guy." But then I clicked on the icon, and there it was. It turns out this account was made 3 days ago. So it says it has 100 plus comments on this channel, but it was made 3 days ago. So that shows that this individual is a scam account that's trying to get people to donate to a number. And they gave a number on the comment. I'm not going to say it here, of course, but you can contact them. An app that you can contact that number and donate, money. So again, it's a damn shame. I was talking to Bible Defender and Jay over text, and I was sending them the picture of this. Like, can you guys believe this? That we're at the point where people, which let's all be honest, they're probably some type of scam center over in like India or um Africa, some type of foreign developing country, right? And they're using the Bible and religious content to try to scam people out of money. Like, isn't that sad? And the dude in the comment put up like Bible verses about, oh, it's a good thing, to give to those in need, or a couple cherry picked verses to try to make you feel bad, so you give money, right? And the simple minded would, right? Like, you're gonna have some old grandmas that get that comment from this dude and be like, yeah, sure, I can send, $10, $15 to help the kids. So these scammers are making money by by scamming people and then using the Bible to scam. It's like, that is just sad, man. That's just really pathetic at this point. It's like, shit, we're past the days of all these other, scams, like people sending, fake emails to people like, oh, computer got a virus, contact this and this and we'll get you fixed up. We're past those days now. Now people are trying to use, tragedies or sad situations to try to get money. Like, I'll give you an example, right? I'm familiar with some of these scams and shit going on. People going around, pretending that they have a kid that, needs a medical um, surgery done and they can't afford it, to try to get money. I've been watching this stuff, for a while on YouTube, you know what I'm saying? So people that, have these situations, they expose these people and you can clearly see the fraud, right? The other day I was sitting there outside the laundromat, had the window down, and there's a dude, which I saw him first. He went up to the dude like a couple cars over from me, and the dude was like handing out flowers. And when he gave you the flower, you ask, "Oh, what's this?" And then he'll show you a card. He won't say nothing, but he'll show you a card that says, some sad story about how his son needs, a surgery, right? And I'm sitting here, I don't have the keys to put my window up. So the dude comes over to me after he went to the other dude, and hands me the flowers, like, "Hey, what's all this?" And then the guy shows me the plaque with the sad story about it, right? Which I already knew it was a scam, right? I could see it from a mile away. But you know what? I still gave the guy $2. Now somebody will say, "Oh, well, why would you give the scammer $2?" Well, let me tell you something. The reason why is something called street smarts, right? So I consider myself a gray man, right? I have some street smarts. So the way I look at it, shit, I may as well give the guy $2 so he leaves me alone and goes to the next dude, because you don't know what they could be carrying. They might pull out a gun on you, might pull out a knife and demand money. You don't know, right? You don't know. Same thing with some homeless people. I like when I go downtown or other places like Walmart. You get stopped sometimes by people who are, desperately looking for a handout, right? So asking, hey, can I have a couple dollars to get some fries or something? Like, hey, look, I'll give it to them, where I'm not gonna sit there and argue with them. Because hell, you don't know. Hell, they could have rabies, for Christ's sake. Hell, just like Nick, right? It might bite your damn thumb off. True story, by the way, right? Nick showed me that. Right, dude got into an argument at a gas station up in Canada, and the homeless man bit his damn finger to the bone and had to get it, sliced off because of the infection. True story, right? So again, you don't know, man. You don't know. So let me ask you this: would you rather just lose $2, $3 to these people, or rather getting into a fight with somebody possibly getting hurt? I think the most logical way would be just give the guy $2 so he leaves you alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, shit, $2 isn't worth, getting stabbed over something. You know what I'm saying? At least that's how I look at it with my street smarts. Oh, yeah. So before I forget to mention, the reason I brought up about these guys making fake accounts, besides the Jason A thing I wanted to comment on, but the story I was going to allude to that happened maybe 3 or 4 years ago, shit, maybe even 5 years ago at this point, because this happened when I was in Florida. I've been up for like here for like 4 years. Yeah, we're talking 5 years ago, actually. So, troll account of me, right? That took my image, my name, and they went on to like a GMS, dude's page and, put a couple stupid comments up like, oh, the Bible is trash and, GMS is this and that. And, stuff like that, stuff I wouldn't say. But the ignorant, gullible GMS character, he did a whole video about it, like, "Oh, look, this guy ETT, his horns are showing." It's like, dummy, you do realize that if you click on the icon, that's not me, right? Like, it will literally tell you the channel was made 2 days ago, and they have 0 subscribers. It's like, come on, So again, they'll do video about me saying, "Oh, ETT this, ETT that," because of this comment somebody put up or a couple comments they put up. But it wasn't me though. So you see what I'm saying? This is some of the stuff that we have to deal with, right? It's pathetic, but hey, when you serve the Lord, these are some of the things they're gonna have you. You're gonna be a public target, when you serve the Lord, man. That's why the Bible tells you when you come to serve the Lord, you gotta prepare yourself for temptation, man. Tells you that in Ecclesiasticus chapter 2. I believe Hebrews 12 as well. I was reading Hebrews earlier. Read Hebrews 12, right? Every son has to go through, some difficulties. It's not going to be just some type of like cakewalk into the kingdom of heaven, like, some of these free gracers or, universalists or, these dummies on the internet believe. It's not going to be just a cakewalk into the kingdom, man. There's going to be difficulties set up. Hell, I don't even know. I see Jay down there. I don't even know if that's the real dude because somebody just came in here with a fake account of me. So I don't even know. Could be. I don't know who that is, man. Right. The question you asked, I don't know who that is. Is like a singer or something, a YouTube podcast. I don't know who that is. Doesn't ring a bell. The one thing I want to comment on, I was reading, Hebrews and First and Second Timothy, the other day, and one verse that stuck out to me was First Timothy chapter 4 verse 1, and I'm not even paraphrasing it. You can read it though, and it says that oh, let me see if I remember. Yeah, it says that in the latter times some would depart from the faith, and I had to pause there for a second, like, whoa, hold on a second, wait, what? That's a cut on these dudes talking about once saved, always saved, right? That, once you believe and then you leave the faith, you're still always saved. That's a cut because it says there in First Timothy chapter 4 verse 1, that in the last times some would depart from the faith. Meaning what? They're no longer part of it, no longer believing in it, meaning they're no longer part of Christ either. That's a cut right there. And then a few days ago, I got a comment from somebody, and they were responding to a question I asked Praise and Jackass. I asked him if once saved, always saved is true, that once you believe your salvation is secure forever, no matter what you do, even if you become a Satanist, which is clear garbage if you know the Bible. But I have a buddy of mine who I've known for many years, right, outside of YouTube. And he was in the Christian church, right? He was in the faith, as they call it, but then he left the faith recently to be a Hindu. Now he believes in 300 gods, or as the Bible will call them, idols, right? The Bible will call them idols. So he has 300 idols that he believes in now, and Jesus is not one of them. And even if he was one of them, that would still be in vain because you can't have any other idols. You know what I'm saying? You can't believe in Christ and then believe in Shiva and Buddha at the same time, right? You can't do that according to the Bible, man. Right? So even if he did believe in Christ being Hindu, he's still in error because that's multiple different idols. But the point is he's no longer a Christian, no longer a believer. He's a full devout Hindu now, right? And that's what he's been doing for a while now. So the question I asked is he still saved? Because according to them, he has to be, because salvation can't be lost. And then this dummy in the comment section was like, oh, yeah, your friend who, left Christianity to become a Hindu. Yeah, he is absolutely saved. And he's absolutely going to heaven. No questions about it. I wish I could bring the comment up here, but I can't because the StreamYard restrictions. But it was hilarious. I had a good laugh when I read it. I was like, man, shit, I might even have to do a separate video about that because that's hilarious. I might even have to do a whole separate video. But yeah, that verse I mentioned in 1 Timothy 4:1, which I'll quote it again. It says that in the latter times some would depart from the meaning what? Today they believe, and the next week they might not believe anymore. They might not believe on Christ. So that means they're no longer part of them. They're no longer of this grace. So that means they're not saved. Like, I mean, I don't get how this is like, some type of like deep thing. I mean, this is so clear to see. So clear. Hey, how you doing, Alfred? Um, Jay asked, "Have you ever been to jail before?" No, I haven't been to prison before, but I have been to a detention center before, for lack of better terms, right? So very similar to a jail. Like I even remember a conversation I had with one of the workers there. I was like, and this was when I was 15, right? I went to this place for maybe 2 days. Yeah, 2 days, 2.5 days, something like that. And, I had a conversation with one of the people. It was like, yeah, this place is like a prison. This place is like prison. So, I mean, shit, if you want to consider it that way, then I guess I could say, yeah, but I mean, there's a few differences. Oh, that's a good question. Alfred asked, question, were you ever in a camp? Well, here's the story with that, right? I've been watching a Great Millstone, which I do listen to other One West camps such as IUIC, Sakari, Genesis, ISUPK, but all of those camps, I would say, have a lot of errors in them. GMS has some errors too, but they're more so on point, right? A lot of what they teach is on point with the Bible, right? So I consider GMS to be like one of the top camps out of One West, right? The top camp out of the One West school, in my humble opinion. So was I ever part of a camp? I was never a official member of GMS. But then again, with that being said, now after knowing the stuff that I know, I wouldn't want to be a member because, say, for instance, right, when you join an organization, when you join a church or join a camp, as Hebrew Israelites call their organizations, you have to teach what the doctrine is from the top down. You don't get to cherry pick. Like, say, for instance, if somebody joined deacon's camp and then went out and taught that salvation was for every person on earth, his ass would get booted from that camp because that's not the doctrine, right? Or I'll give an example. If you go into the Roman Catholic Church and you teach that the false prophet in Revelation is the Vatican, you couldn't teach that because that goes against the doctrine, right? So again, now knowing what I know now, I wouldn't apply to any of these camps because I know that they have some errors. Like, say, for instance, if you joined the ISUPK or IUIC, you would have to teach a geocentric Earth, right? A geocentric Earth is what you would have to teach. Or excuse me, let me rephrase myself. I said that wrong. You would have to teach a heliocentric, excuse me. You would have to teach the rotating, spinning globe Earth is what you would be required to teach if you join these organizations. And I'm not going to do that because I know that's a lie. So that's one red flag right there is just dealing with the geocentric and the heliocentric. I'm not joining a camp where I have to literally lie to people to, not ruffle feathers in that organization. You know what I'm saying? But some of these camps, they know who I am. Like if you asked the leaders of Great Millstone, GMS, they know who I am. You ask them, oh, you know about that guy ETT? Oh yeah, we know about that dude. Right, the guy that eats the moon pies. Yeah, they know who I am. You could ask them. Oh, look, my suspicion was right. My suspicion was right. Somebody copied Jay's icon as well. Hey, how you doing, Ridge? I can tell Ridge is real because he got that wrench I gave him. Hope you're doing good, bro. Is there any question here? Is there any camps that teach flat Earth? As far as I know, I believe. Well, let me say this, right? I don't see any camps that deliberately come out and use the term flat Earth. But I know Sakari said that the Earth is not a spinning globe. But they say, well, we don't know what the hell it is, but we know it's not a spinning globe. As far as Deacon, I'm sure he teaches that it's a what is it? A geocentric, right? A geocentric meaning the Earth in the center, right? I'm pretty sure they teach that there, right? After watching him for a while, what it's funny because I called into their show and asked them a question or two about it, and they were clueless. Like they had no idea what the Antarctic Treaty was. They had no clue about any of this flat Earth stuff, right? The only thing they could agree is that the Earth wasn't a spinning ball. But shit, they don't know if the Earth's like a damn triangle or rectangle or stuff like that. They're still trying to figure that out. I mean, they're still acting like, oh, go find the edge and fall off. It's like, well, dude, nobody believes it has an edge, right? It shows a very little amount of research they've done into the topic they talk about. It would be as stupid as somebody going up to the Hebrew Israelite camp and thinking they debunked them by just bringing a picture of Jesus from Google up, saying, well, what do you guys mean that Jesus is black? I mean, look right here on Google. That's Jesus right there. Look, he's white. See, you guys are debunked. Like that's literally the same mindset that a lot of these camps have. Like, oh, look, we have the pictures of the earth. It's like you guys do realize those pictures are not real. Like we literally have them admit that they're photoshopped. The guy that made the 2002 blue marble picture, Robert Simmons, he even said it was photoshopped in the interview. So I don't know what the hell these guys are talking about, man. At least on that topic. Yeah, Ridge. I've been a flat earther for since 20 late 2015, early 2016, right? Never a They have a saying in the flat earth community, once you go flat, you never go back, right? I never go back to believing that I'm on a speck in an infinite universe revolving around the sun. I'm not never going to believe that again because I've seen the bullshit. I've seen the lies. And hey, you fooled me once, but you're not going to fool me twice. Same thing with Christianity. Now that I've read the whole entire Bible multiple times for myself, I found out that many of these churches, a vast majority of churches, are giving a false understanding of the Bible. Doesn't mean that they're deliberately on purpose lying, but they're carrying the tradition that they were taught. And that's what we have. A lot of people are just keeping that tradition they grew up with. Like, I'll give an example. A lot of people who were raised in Islam remain in Islam the rest of their life. A lot of people that were raised Amish that remain Amish the rest of their life. A lot of people raised in the Catholic Church remain Catholic the rest of their life. That's just usually how it works a lot of times. Yeah, I don't know who the hell's behind it, Jay, but hell, I'll tell you this: it's not that dude from a couple years ago. Which you don't even know who I'm talking about because this is before your time. But Ridge knows what I'm talking about. So that's a little inside joke between me and Ridge, right? Ridge, we know this isn't the same character coming back. What's funny? I got a comment the other day, and this is from an individual that been watching my stuff for years. Like he knows about some of the deep things that I've you know uh, been involved in that go years and years back, right? None of you listen to this besides Luke and Ridge would know what I'm talking about if I was to start naming names such as hell, I'll name a couple, right? Such as Andrew Ashby, Izzy Pop 15, um, who else? Right, Loving Christian, Kyle, right? Well, only like two of you watching this know that's deep history there. You got to be watching my stuff for, you know, 7 years to know about that. Um, but this guy put up all that stuff like, yeah, mention all these names. Like, oh shit, this guy's an old timer here. This guy's been watching my stuff forever. So I listened to him and he said, hey, I'm a little concerned, man. This Samuel Owens guy and the King Lion, aka the Loving Christian, I think they're the same person. I think they're just tricking you. And he gave a couple reasons why he viewed that, which again, he sounded like an honest, respectful guy, just looking out for me. But I told him, hey, look, man, they're not the same guy. Even though they might be from the same country, they might sound similar because they have the same accent because they're, both from the same country, right? But they're not the same guy. First of all, Samuel Owen is a skinny twig that sits around in a trailer park on High Holy Hill, New Jerusalem trailer park all day. And the King Lion, aka Loving Christian, he's no offense to him, but he's, a little bit obese and doesn't really have much facial hair. So we can tell based on that they're clearly two different people, right? So I just friendly, let them know a couple reasons why they are completely different people. Oh, that's a good question. What are your best free proofs for a flat Earth? Best free? Well, it'd be hard to bring everything down just to three best proofs. But the first one I'll give is there's no photographs of the Earth from outer space. All photographs that we have are forged. They're either illustrations. Again, you can look this up on the internet. If you diligently look at these pictures, you're going to find out that a lot of the clouds are duplicated onto multiple different photos. And I even have a video in my one of my playlists that demonstrate that. Somebody took the time to go over the images and found multiple um, areas of multiple different supposed photographs where the clouds overlay. right? And they're duplicated onto multiple different images. So that shows there's manipulation going on. They're not real pictures. But the media would tell you they're authentic without, editing or any, fishy thing involved. Well, no, that's not true. And then, second of all, water remains flat and level. Nobody can demonstrate how water is able to curve. And the earth is made up of 70% water, or at least that's what is claimed, that the earth is 70% water, right? Which, again, is that true or not? I mean, for argument's sake, let's just say it is. So if it is, well, then how the hell could water be stuck to a ball flying 1,000 miles? Well, actually, 66,000 miles an hour around the sun and spinning 1,000 miles an hour itself, right? Something doesn't make sense about that because how the hell could the earth be whirling and swirling and all this fishy nonsense if we have literally peaceful lakes, right? Like you ever seen lakes that are so clear and still that it literally reflects the sky, right? Like a mirror. And if you throw a pebble into the water, it will disrupt the entire thing. But somehow that's still on a Earth that's spinning 1,000 miles an hour and rotating the sun at 66,000 miles an hour. That's not true. As far as the third proof, well, I'll say this: every ancient civilization believed in a flat Earth cosmology. Of course, there was different beliefs as to how it got there, what's beyond it, who's outside it, stuff like that varies from culture to culture, but they all had the same basic model about a flat world that was enclosed with the sun, moon, and stars in rotation over it. And another bonus one for you is nobody can show the curve. Somebody would tell me I just got to go to the ocean, watch a boat disappear. That's the curve. Another guy will say you have to be on top of a mountain to see it. Another dude would tell me you got to be in an airplane and see it. And then world famous Neil deGrasse Tyson says that you can't even see it from 127,000 feet. So who has the answer there? I mean, all five people can't be right at the same time. And then another one, from the Bible's perspective, the Bible teaches that the earth is motionless and doesn't move. You know what? It's funny. I called the Captain Zariak the other day when he was doing like a what is it, morning chronicles, car chronicles, I think he calls it. And he goes live for like an hour and people can call in. You get like 5 minutes to ask a question because they have, multiple people calling in. But I was asking him, what do you think about these verses in the Bible that talk about the sun and the moon moving? He was like, oh, I don't know. It's, really could just mean that the earth is like in Joshua 10:12, when God told the sun and moon to stay still, it could really mean that he like told the earth to stay still. So, okay. And then what about like in Matthew 24, among other places, it talks about the moon having her own light. And in Genesis, right, it talks about her light, moon's light. What about that? Because modern science says that the moon reflects sunlight. It doesn't create its own light. That's what modern science teaches. But the Bible says that the moon makes her own light. It's a separate light source from the sun, which we can prove that here on Earth. Did you know that moonlight is actually slightly colder if you're directly in the moonlight compared to in the shade? Now, it might be difficult to test this because you had to go to the exact area where like the moonlight comes down in a direct circle. And I've seen this before, literally a few times in my own backyard. Like the moonlight will come down into like a small circle. Um, if you've never seen it, it's hard to explain. But if you were able to find it, you can have a device that you can measure the temperature, and it will be slightly colder inside of the direct moonlight than outside of the moonlight. Like if you go 15, 20 feet away, it'll be slightly warmer than inside the direct light. It's like, wait, well, how the hell does that make sense? But that's something to look into. Yeah, Jay said I tried debunking flat Earth, but now I believe in it. I was battling this dude in 2020. Now I believe in it. Right, and that's how we all started. Like we all at first when we heard this, we might have got intrigued and laughed at it. But then when we sat down and actually, gave it some thought and actually looked into it, we found out that we didn't really know a whole lot about it. Like my whole introduction to it is I would literally sit there for 8 hours a day and watch live streams. Hell, even more than 8 hours. Like it used to be easy to find flat earth streams on YouTube back in like 2016, 17. Right. So I would sit there and just listen to these podcasts all day about people debating the earth shape and all that, listen from both sides. Right. I would do it for a solid year, year and a half. And, all the arguments prove a flat world. Barely anybody could come up with a good argument for the earth being a globe. Now, I will say this, so I don't believe that the shape of the earth is a salvation based topic, right? Like, I don't think that if somebody believes in a spinning globe, that they're like damned and won't be saved. No, that's not true, right? Whether you believe the earth is a triangle, a spinning ball, or a flat earth, that's not going to take away from your salvation. But I do think it's a important topic that should be talked about because we have countless people that give testimony to the fact that, they were atheists their whole life. But then once they found out that the earth was flat, they ended up, becoming a religious person or at least believed in some type of God or some sort, right? So the flat earth can certainly move people to accepting that a God exists and move people to the Bible. But it certainly doesn't mean that people who don't believe in it, that they can't be saved. That's a misconception. Yep, that's a good verse. Isaiah 40:22. See that sits upon the circle of the earth, and the people are as grasshoppers in the sight. And if Job thought the earth was a ball, why did he not just use the word ball there? Because he knew the difference between a circle and a ball. If you read Isaiah chapter 22, verse 18, it says that he'll surely violently toss thee like a ball into a foreign country. The difference between a ball and a circle, then idiots to be like, oh, well, the ball earth is a circle. Then it's like, well, you guys know the flat earth model is a circle too, right? I'll give another example. My car tire is a circle, dinner plate's a circle. My icon here is a circle, but I'm not a spinning ball, right? You know what I'm saying? Again, it's like people just don't think, right? People just don't think. Yeah, look, oh, there's another good one. First Chronicles 16:30. Tremble before him, all the earth. Yeah, the world is established, it shall never be moved. Right, so if the world shall never be moved, then how the hell is the earth flying throughout infinite space? Again, you can't prove that in the Bible. You can't fit a modern heliocentric world into the Bible. You just can't do it. Another good one, Psalms 104, verse 5. He set the earth on its foundations that it should never be moved. Oh, and then here's, I gotta mention this, right? I seen this dumbass, that's ironic I choose that word because I'm talking about Jackass, right? AKA Jack Smack 77, right? Jackass, I call him. He did a video quote unquote debunking the flat earth. And even his own audience came against him in that, saying, oh, well, you're right on free grace, man. But when it comes to this, you don't know anything. Even his own cult turned against him. So I mean shit, I was laughing my ass off when I saw that even this dude's brainwashed zombie cult even were calling his ass out on it. But he said one of his so-called proofs was, well, saying that the earth is flat and that, the universe, doesn't exist, that's taken away from God's creativity. So I thought about Psalms 19:1. Like, wait, how the hell does that take away from God's creativity if it says this? Psalms 19:1, it says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork." Handiwork is another word to describe his creativity, right? In the context. So, how the hell could a flat enclosed world take away from God's creativity if it's literally saying here that the firmament above shows God's handiwork, aka his craftiness, aka his creativity? I mean, come on. But these are the imbeciles on YouTube that are supposedly teachers, right? It's amazing to me. Alfred said, "Yeah, it's crazy how many people don't even think about their physical reality." Yeah, it's a damn shame. It's bizarre how there's a lot of people going around out here. Like, say for instance, right? Like I was listening to a discussion that this guy, what is this guy's channel? Bear with me for a second. Damn, it'll come back to me. But there's this, oh, Deconverted Man. That's the channel name, Deconverted Man. Right. So this guy, he was a Christian for years, and then he deconverted to like atheism. Right. Deconverted Man. That's his channel name. He was doing a discussion with a Christian. I want to say maybe a week ago. I called it live and I was just listening to it. It was actually a good conversation for the first hour and a half, but then it started going downhill. Um, Shit, just like my conversation with him, right? The first couple minutes was okay, but then once you start to, bring out some hard truths, then that inner Satan starts coming out, right? But it was funny. This dude's like, "Oh, everything, comes from nothing, and it's, just laughable to believe in a God." It's like, but wait, don't you believe in something that you can't see or view, like the Big Bang, for instance? It's like, come on, It's hilarious, right? But they think they have like the moral side of the argument, right? That science backs them up. It's like, well, buddy, you do know that by very definition of words that you like to use, because he's big into definitions, right? But the word faith applies to you because you believe in the Big Bang, which not any human or any animal or anything in existence was even around to view the Big Bang, right? So that's taken upon faith that it happened. You have to have faith to believe in the Big Bang as the origin of life and the universe. So you can't attack people for believing in a God, like Yahweh, right, which is the God of the Bible, Jehovah, or that's the another abbreviation, or um, Allah or Shiva, just to give a couple examples. For people who believe in those type of gods, you can't really criticize them from the atheist standpoint because even the atheist standpoint requires faith because they believe in something that nobody can see. You know what I'm saying? So it's shows that a lot of people are just not thinking. I mean, that's an interesting theory, but I think it would all be up to speculation, right? So I don't think anybody should form like a doctrine about around it as to what's outside or any of this stuff, because that would just be up to speculation at this point. I mean, shit, we're trying to just get to the firmament, before we can even try to get through. You know what I'm saying? And we see how hard that is to try to get there. Which I know Jaren's going down there. Um, I believe it's December 14th to December 18th. They're going down to Antarctica. It's called the Final Experiment. You can look it up on YouTube, and you can learn a little bit about that. This pastor named Will Duffy is going to spend his own money to take a couple flat earthers and a couple globe earthers down to Antarctica so they can do some observations about the sun and see if it like sets or if it's going to be like, sun up for like multiple days at a time, right? That's coming up in what is it, like 2 months now? Something like that, right? 3 months. So that's going to be interesting. They said they're going to be hopefully live streaming and recording a lot when they're down there. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes on that. Make sure I can keep, you're going to keep my eyes on that so I can keep up with the information. Hey, I don't got no car, man. This is somebody else's. Shit, I'm over here living in a damn Rio, Brazil style favela, man. If you know what that is. Shit, and this is what I lived in during the Corolla thing, right? People complaining they were stuck at home. Some of these, millionaires complaining about being stuck in, a six-bedroom home. It's like, shit, I'm over here stuck with four people inside of a Rio, Brazil style favela home, man. Right? Literally from the front door to the wall is like what, 15 feet, 20 feet if I'm lucky. But hey, it is what it is, man. You said that guy sucks. You talk about Jaron? I mean, I think Jaron's an honest guy, right? Sure, I'm sure he has his flaws just like everybody else. But I mean, shit, if Jaron was giving you free stuff like Perry, man, you'd be, kissing his ass. And I don't even mean to be rude, but let's just be honest, right? Now you'd like him then if he was to send you free shirts. Let's see. Yeah, I agree. I agree that according to the Bible, it appears that there's water outside of the firmament. But with that being said, it doesn't give much information other than that, right? So, people should just hold their horses before, running off with some wild beliefs. Like there's this one dude, YouTube channel is called Free Your Mind. What is it? Free Your Mind or Feed Your Mind? Yeah, it's Free Feed Your Mind is the name of this guy's channel. And this guy teaches some wacky shit over there. And what's the word I'm looking for? And the dude's saying, "Oh, well, when we hear thunder, it could actually be like some giant prehistoric creatures like swimming outside the firmament." It's like, wow, this is that would make for a good science fiction movie, sure, but that's just not reality, man. Like, where the hell in the Bible did it talk about that? I mean, hey, if you want to speculate that, you're welcome to do it, but we shouldn't teach that as doctrine. You know what I'm saying? Jaron's a Fed. No, I don't say that. I've been watching Jaron for a whole number of years. He's definitely a sincere guy. Again, I'm sure he has some flaws, just like everybody else, but nothing about him is off-putting. Like, I mean, shit. Let me give you an example, right? Like, why would we believe Russian vids that he's not a Fed, but we believe somehow Jaronism is, but yet we literally know all this information about Jaron and know nothing about Russian vids? So, by logic, wouldn't Russian vids be the person that's more suspicious than Jaron is? And Jaron's an unbeliever, right? He doesn't even believe in the scriptures. And hell, he might even be East, actually, right? He might not even qualify for salvation if he's an Edomite. But I'm just saying, the guy is a sincere dude. There's nothing fishy going on. At least this is coming from a guy who has years of experience watching these people, both Russian vids and Jaren and all these other individuals out there. You know what I'm saying? So again, people can believe what they want, but Yeah, I don't buy into that. Like again, if we're gonna be logical with our conclusion, I would think that Russian vids, which I think Russian vids is just an individual that just has access to YouTube and just makes videos. There's no secret thing going on with him either. But I'm just saying, out of the two, he would be more suspicious, right? The guy doesn't even show his face. He'll show his turtles in his room, right? He'll show his pets, but he won't show his face on anything, right? So we know nothing about that guy. We don't know his name, don't know where he lives, don't know anything other than his voice. But Jaren, we know the dude's name, we know where he's at, we know where he's going to be at, we see him, right? We know all this information. This guy's literally been on TV. Same thing with Mark Sargent and what's this dude? David. So again, all these guys, there's nothing fishy going on with them. They're just a bunch of dudes that figured out a couple of things, and that's as far as it goes. And again, if somebody wants to view it differently, you're welcome to do that. But that's what my conclusion has led me to. Yeah, he was on Netflix. Well, again, just because you're on Netflix, it doesn't mean that you're now a bad person or something like that. In fact, let me tell you something. Netflix, they actually, because again I know the information about it, right? He explained that in the contract, he didn't realize that they could take the footage without his consent and do what they want with it, right? So they edited the film in a way that made the flat earth look bad. That's not his fault because he didn't get, a final cut in it. Say for instance, right? An actor in a movie doesn't get a say on how the director is going to piece it all together. They're acting, right? So they might be displeased with how something is um, fitted together in the final film. You know what I'm saying? But it's not their fault that it turned out that way. So just because a guy is on Netflix, that don't mean nothing. Hell, there's plenty of famous people that been in a Netflix documentary. Doesn't mean that they're like being paid from some by somebody behind the scenes. Hey, what's going on, Nagajini? Don't think I've seen that name in here before. Damn, already at an hour? That went quick. Let's see something. It's oh man. I gotta pick up a whole nother damn set of headphones, man. Gotta go to Five Below and pick up a microphone and headset, which, if I'm lucky, I'll find a headphone set that has a built-in microphone. Because what I've been doing the past 2 months is I've had this cheap $20 Amazon pair I've been using the past year, and recently within the last 2 months, the one side died on it. Like how the earphone will completely die on one side, you can't hear any volume from it. So it's happened to the right side. So I've been using the left side, and just the other day, the thing completely, stopped working. So I haven't been able to really watch a whole lot or listen to really anything, or even talk to people on my games, right? Because I play certain online games that require um, microphone to use. You can interact with, other people on there, so I haven't been able to do that either. So got to pick up another headset. Hey, how you doing, MMA Paradise? Hope you're doing well. see. Said RV Truth is a shill too. No, I wouldn't say that. I've been watching RV Truth, which he changed his name recently because wait, if he was a shill, think about this for people out there who believe that. If RV Truth was a shill, then why would YouTube take down his channel that has 70,000 subscribers on it? Like, wouldn't they promote his content? Right? Like, wouldn't they just be promoting the guy's content and not trying to censor him? Like, his videos now are getting maybe a couple hundred views, a few thousand if he's lucky. But his stuff used to get thousands and thousands and thousands of views. And again, I'm a guy who knows the shit because I watched a guy for nearly a decade, right? So again, I know the backstory to it. So again, I don't think Russian Vidge is like, some type of like greatest guy ever or something like that, but I certainly don't believe these allegations people just put against him. Yeah, I've been, well, say for instance, right? I've been making like 5 or 6 channels as well. So does that mean I'm a shill too? No, clearly it doesn't, right? And just a regular dude. Well, I guess not regular because I'm challenger deep, right? I'm like, next level when it comes to debates and topics of knowledge. And that's not a flex. I'm just being honest. But that being said, doesn't mean the guy's a shill. And again, you're welcome to believe that if you want, man. But I think a lot of people are just getting a little bit out of hand with all these shill calling and stuff like that. I mean, sure, the government might put 1 or 2 people there, but it's nowhere near the extent that people exaggerate things to be. It's like it's preposterous. And it should be laughed at, right? I think people that believe everybody's a shill, they're just not thinking straight. Like, say, for instance, if me or Jay go on to Silver Rain Soul's Fully Chained Mind, if we go on his podcast, you're going to have people in the comment section saying that Jay and ETT are they're trolls and agents of the state. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't make that true just because a couple people say that, right? And that's all I'm saying. Let's see. His brother said Israel unleashing on Middle East. Yeah, yeah, man. I've been keeping up with the news. The world news, a lot of shit going on in the world right now, man. Like Israel just today. Well, there's a whole lot of shit going on in the Middle East, man. There's a whole lot of shit going on. You had the whole pagers explode over there, injuring hundreds of people, well, thousands of people and killing what is it, like 40 people died, but it injured thousands of people, right? Now, I'm not going to get into everything because I have to watch certain words I use on this platform, right? But anybody that's been keeping up with the news the past week knows what I'm talking about here, right? And then you had Israel and Lebanon, exchange missiles back and forth, right? Like what, 500 people died in Lebanon today, from the missiles. So again, there's wars kicking off all over the place, man. It's undeniable. But you know what I find funny though? Here's what I find funny is here it is, you still have idiots like professing preterists going around believing that the end times took place 2000 years ago and right now we're living hereafter, right? Like the Bible is just a history book, right? All of that already happened, right? From Genesis to Revelation, all 80 books, all of that has already taken place. So if you read the Bible, it's not really a inspirational thing, as in like future tense, because all of that already happened, right? So you can read it for like a historical account, but all of that already came and went. Yeah, yeah, Jay's right on that. Preterism is just stupid. Yeah, I mean it's clearly retarded. I mean, I don't see how anybody could live in the year 2024 and still be a full preterist. Again, I just don't see it. It logically cannot make sense. Like how the hell could we be in the kingdom? How the hell could we be in the hereafter if there's literally all these wars and pestilences and earthquakes, all the things that Christ said to look out for, warned that he warned would happen on earth leading up to his second return. But apparently all of that already took place 2000 years ago. I mean, that is just retarded. I mean, there's no other word to use. I mean, that's just, again, as Jay said, right? It's just, and again, we're keeping it in polite terms here. You know what I'm saying? But that's just what it is at this point, right? So I asked these guys, right, if the end times really came and went 1,000 years ago, well, why is it now today that we're seeing all the things unfold that Christ warned about that would take place in the end times? And that's a really good question because think about that. All the things that Christ warned about, was it Luke? I believe it's Mark 13, Luke 24, Matthew 24. I could get a few of those mistaken or mixed up, but all of the Gospels contain a chapter where Christ explains some of the things to look out for in the world leading up to his second return. And we're seeing those things happen. So if all of it happened 2,000 years ago, why the hell is it happening right now? Is it repeating? Because I don't remember that it being in the scriptures. But so Christ is going to return 3 times now? Someone asked, can you explain Daniel 7:25? It says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, think to change times and laws, and they shall be giving into his hand until times and dividing at times. I mean, yeah, well, we see this happening. We see it happen all over the place, right? Whether it be the Pope in the Vatican, where we're talking about presidents of countries such as the United States. So I wouldn't say that it's talking about like one individual man, but it's talking about like a whole like group of people. Like say for instance, right, like the global elites behind the scenes, they're all working to one accord, but they're all multiple people, right? Or I'll give you another example. The Bible talks about that Antichrist, right? The Antichrist, that Antichrist. But the Bible is that whoever doesn't even believe is an Antichrist, right? So the term Antichrist can mean many different things, right? Multiple different people. Hell, there's literally a billion people on earth, many more than a billion. I'm just trying to give a bite-size example so people understand what I'm saying. Let's just, for hypothetical argument's say, if there's a billion people in the world who don't believe, well, that's a billion antichrist according to the Bible. What is that? 1 John 2:18 and 22. It says, those that don't believe, they're an antichrist, right? If you don't believe on the Son of God, you're an antichrist. So that'd be my answer. It's not talking about just like one individual man, but it's really talking about like the entire elites behind the scenes. They're all working to one accord, which is what, to bring that new world order and to turn everything upside down from what God has established it to be. That's how I'd answer the question. Let me see. Got a notification, right? Praise is doing a live stream. He entitled it Free Grace Hangout, right? So over there, that's where all these guys hang out and talk about all of this grace that they believe in. No, it's really laughable. Yeah, that's a valid way to look at it. I would say that certainly ties into that scripture. I would say that, sure. Bear with me for a second. I gotta check some. Yeah, going back to that question. Yeah, we really don't know what day it is and what month we're in, because this is all, man's concept, right? So hell, for hypothetical argument, we could be in the year 2027 and it might be April the 7th, right? It's just going by what man says. That's all these calendars, excuse me, and months and years. It's all going by societal, view. Hell, like say for instance, let's give a hypothetical. If we all just completely disappeared right now, and we all just turned to ash, right? Thanos snapped, and we all just disappeared and turned to ash or whatever. And then a new civilization comes along. They're gonna start it like from year one upwards, from when they start building their civilization. So they're not going to know how long they've been here. You know what I'm saying? They're just going to be starting from scratch and then keeping to that calendar. So that's essentially, what's going on now. Right, right. You know, we really don't know what year, what day it is. We don't know. In a couple minutes, I'm going to wrap the stream up, but we'll go to an hour and a half. But some guys go a little bit overboard. Like some of these dudes, like what's this guy, David Weiss? Which again, I don't think he's like some type of like actor, agent, or nonsense like that. He's just a guy that did some research and teaches on the internet, right? Like a lot of these guys, like Jared and Russian vids. But they go a little bit overboard, right, with some of these conspiracies that they teach, like, oh, Tartaria, or nuke hoax, as they call it. They just looked up a couple things on the internet, cherry picked a couple information, and that's really as far as it goes. And then the gullible masses will just listen to it and regurgitate everything that they hear this guy say. It's really bizarre. Like, what I find funny? As somebody who listens to debates between, flat earthers and globe earthers, like every week I listen to a handful of them for fun. Um, and all the flat earthers, they say the same thing. Well, to be fair, globers say the same thing too. But I just find it funny how the flat side, everybody claims to be like so awoke and so aware of the brainwashing and manipulation and all this, but they all repeat the same bullshit conspiracy. All nukes aren't real, all dinosaurs were fake. Like you had this one dummy on there saying, oh well, dinosaurs are fake, but then he's like, well, dragons were real. It's like, dummy, you do realize that dinosaurs were called dragons, right? It's like you don't know that. This is clear history, man. That dinosaurs, first of all, the word dinosaur was invented in the 1840s, right? So there were dinosaurs before then. People had terms for them. They were called giant lizards, right? Or dragons. It's a lot of people just don't know because they don't look into these things. They just see a couple conspiracies and cherry picked information, and that's about it. It's bizarre to me. Yeah, well, Tartaria could have been a real country, but here's the problem though, because these guys say Tartaria was a worldwide civilization. That's the disconnect. They're not saying that Tartaria was like a little country in in Europe or Asia. They're saying that Tartaria was a worldwide civilization of advanced technology and humans much greater than us today, and they all got wiped out in like a massive disaster, and then we humans were put here in the 1800s, and we have some of their buildings left over and some of their technology. Again, that's the theory these guys are saying. They're not saying that it was like a little country that existed at some point. Again, I'm not going to argue. Maybe there was a small country that existed named Tartaria. I'm not, that's not the point of the discussion. When I say the Tartaria stuff, I'm talking about this whole theory they all have about how this whole worldwide civilization got wiped out and the advanced races with that and all this bullshit, and that's what it is. It's nonsense. They mix a couple truths in with it and then just throw in a bunch of lies and people will just gobble it up without question. Sure, some ancient civilization had technology that we can't understand. There's plenty of examples of that, such as the Puma Punku stones, right? They clearly had some type of stone working material that we struggle to replicate today, how they were able to, carve these stones with such precision. Again, you can look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. The Puma Punku. There's a book on Amazon called Dead Man's Secrets, and it gives 1,000 examples from archaeological discoveries around the world of all these sites and things that we can't figure out how they were done. So it shows that the ancient people, they did have some technology that we don't understand. That's evident to see. But with that being said, that doesn't mean that this whole Tartarian thing is what these guys are making it out to be. Because let me say this, if you believe in the Tartarian theory, like David Weiss explains it to be, and all these other flat earthers, then you can't believe in the Bible because they're saying that us modern humans, we only been here for 200 years. So you have to throw the whole Bible away then by that logic. Because the people in the Bible were like me and you. They weren't like 50 feet tall humans. They were regular 6 foot tall men. Sure, you had a couple of large people in the Bible, but that's just a handful of people. There's a handful of people that are large today that would match up with some people from the Bible. Like literally on Earth today, there's a couple people that are over 8 feet tall. You can look it up. You can see pictures of these people. But, but right. Let me see. Yeah, that's interesting. Which I don't know how good condition a Bible from 1776 would be, but that's interesting. Let me see. All right, I think I'm gonna end the stream off with that. We're over an hour and a half. I thank everybody for stopping by. Everybody made it to the end. We'll say put hashtag moon just as a little inside joke. Hashtag moon if anybody made it to the end of the stream.